In today's video, I am going to be talking about the magical cervical orgasm. But before we dive in, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification button to stay notified of any future videos I upload. So, the cervical orgasm, the jewel of feminine sexual potential. The cervix is an extremely potent place within a woman's body and can open us up into some of the most profound orgasms. But it's also one of the orgasms which is least talked about and which a lot of women don't know about, which is why I wanted to dedicate this entire video to demystify it and to give you some tools and some practices that you can do to open up into these kinds of experiences. So the cervix is the deepest part of your sexual anatomy that you can touch. It's the end of your vaginal canal. So if you go all the way to the end of your vagina, your cervix is the part that connects your vaginal canal to your uterus or your womb. So it's a very magical gateway, and symbolically it's a place where spirit comes into matter. And the cervical orgasm, a beautiful way to think about it, is that it's an orgasm that can take us from matter back into spirit. Most women describe cervical orgasms as being very profound spiritual experiences. With cervical orgasms, there is a feeling of bliss permeating your entire being, a feeling of melting, of becoming one with the universe, with your partner. It's such a profound experience that I really wish every woman would experience. Yet, as I said, it's also the one part of the female anatomy that most women don't really explore in a sexual way. Now, some people have said that the cervix is numb or that the cervix is not supposed to have any sensation, which is absolute nonsense. The cervix is actually the most innervated part of the female anatomy and has three main nerve pathways leading to pleasure, whereas, for example, your clitoris is mainly connected to your pudendal nerve, so just one set of nerves. And we all know, or most of us know, that the clitoris is very sensitive, and the cervix pretty much has the capacity to be 3 times as sensitive. And one of those 3 nerves that it attaches to is the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is a very, very special nerve in the human body. It's sometimes referred to as the heart-centered nerve or the spiritual nerve. And it's a nerve that runs from the cervix all the way through your body up into your brain towards your crown, which is, interestingly enough, the same pathway that Kundalini is said to travel in the ancient tantric tradition. So some people also refer to the vagus nerve as kind of the physical representation of Kundalini energy. And if this pathway is open, this is why cervical orgasms tend to feel like full body ecstatic orgasms. These are not localized orgasms like the clitoris that just give a localized sense of sensation and explosion, but it actually radiates and invigorates your entire being. The thing with the vagus nerve is that in order for that pathway to be open, the vagus nerve needs to feel safe. The vagus nerve works through a function which is called neuroception, which means that it's constantly scanning your environment below your level of conscious awareness for reasons to feel safe or for reasons not to feel safe. So it's constantly picking up on different facial cues, different sounds, different potential threats in your environment, and giving a signal to your nervous system whether or not you should feel safe or whether or not you should not feel safe. So in order to open up into cervical orgasms, you want your vagus nerve, that pathway, to be open, and you need to feel safe, which is why for most women, cervical orgasms only occur in settings with partners where they feel very deeply connected, where they have a deep sense of intimacy and a sense of emotional connection. It's quite rare to experience cervical orgasms with a lover or a partner that you have some issues with, or that you don't feel fully respected by, or that you don't feel fully safe with, because the vagus nerve needs to feel safe, and it's not even something that you can consciously do. So even if you try to lie to yourself and say that you feel totally safe to open, your vagus nerve below your level of awareness will pick up on that lie if that's not actually how you're feeling. Now, some ways for you to help open up this pathway is to do different practices that tone the vagus nerve and help it to function properly and open you up into these states. The different practices that are really effective for opening and activating the cervix and the vagus nerve are humming, deep breathing, sighing, singing, and visualizing. So the best way to start to activate your cervix is, first of all, to go and actually touch your cervix. That's the first step. A lot of women have never actually touched their cervix. So you can just put 1 or 2 fingers in your vagina, go all the way up and try to locate it. If you can't reach it, it may be because it's a little bit too high up. At different times of the month, it moves up and down. So you can try to bring your knees towards your chest when you're laying down, which will shorten the vaginal canal and make it easier to reach. Or you can also use a wand or a longer dildo in case your fingers can't reach it. But I really recommend the first time to try to reach it with your fingers, just so you can really have that sensate connection and really feel the texture of your cervix. And you want to just make small circles around it. The cervix kind of sits down into your vagina like a bell or like the tip of a nose. So you can go around it and just gently massage it. And as you're massaging it, do these different practices to tone the vagus nerve. So start humming, start visualizing your cervix opening like a flower. You can also do internal or even out loud say affirmations to your cervix, like you are safe, you can let go, surrender. You can sing into your cervix, doing deep breaths and releasing with an audible sigh. All of these practices are really great ways to de-armor the cervix and to activate it and open it up towards orgasmic experiences. The cervix is also the part of the female anatomy that usually needs the most time to become orgasmically alive. So an average for most women is 45 minutes of rhythmic stimulation to the cervix before you have a cervical orgasm. So the cervix is not the place to go when you want a quick fix, when you want a 2-minute quick rub and have a small explosive orgasm. It's a very feminine, receptive yin type of orgasm. It takes time. It's about patience. It's about allowing. It's about surrender. And I personally find it easier to go there with a partner I'm very deeply connected with than by myself, simply because of the location of the cervix. And it's hard for me to give myself rhythmic stimulation for 45 minutes, whereas with a partner, it's easier. But I regularly, on a weekly basis, I touch my cervix and I massage my cervix, and I do these different practices to really connect to her and to create the most optimal conditions for orgasm to occur when I'm with my partner. Because for a lot of us, our cervix stores a lot of emotions, a lot of memories. We may have also had some micro traumas like miscarriages, birth, abortions, pap smears. They could also be acute traumas depending on what you've gone through. So a lot of the time there's a lot of release to be done around the cervix before it opens up into pleasure. So by doing this massage while humming and sighing and visualizing and connecting to your cervix, you're slowly allowing it to release, to open, and to become a fully activated and healthy, blockage-free area of your body. It's very normal if in the beginning it feels numb or even a little bit painful. As you start to do the practices more and more, you will start to really literally feel the cervix soften a bit. I really, when I had that shift in my own body, it felt like an energetic softening. It's like a exhale at the level of the cervix, and then it became extremely, extremely orgasmic. One more thing I would like to mention around the cervical orgasm is that you shouldn't expect it to feel like the clitoral orgasm, but just on a different location. I know I had that belief before I opened up into different orgasms and I'd only experienced clitoral orgasms. I thought that a cervical orgasm would feel just like a clitoral orgasm, but just at the location of my cervix. But that's actually not the case. All the different types of female orgasms feel very differently, which is a blessing. We have a whole buffet of different orgasmic experiences available to us as women, and it's important that we open up our minds to experience them. Because if in our mind we are equating orgasm with a short localized explosion at the level of our clitoris, anything else, our brain will not categorize it as an orgasm. And the cervical orgasm in particular doesn't feel like a peak and drop orgasm. It feels like a radiating bliss that keeps on expanding through your body. So from personal experience, cervical orgasms that I've experienced don't come as like a build up, and then here it is, and then it's gone. But slowly, each kind of pump, each penetration, each touch of my cervix starts to radiate waves of energy up my spine, and it just intensifies and intensifies like an orgasmic wave until eventually there's no more beginning and end to the orgasm. I've entered into an orgasmic state. A lot of the times there's tears accompanied with cervical orgasms and a deep sense of belonging, of coming back home to yourself, and a really profound spiritual and connecting experience. Now, once you do all the different practices with yourself, the best way to reach cervical orgasm with a partner is through rhythmic stimulation of the cervix, either slight pounding and like kind of saying hello to the cervix, or by making circles around the cervix. The best position, in my opinion, is as a woman if you're on top of your partner and you can rock your hips forward and back, which will create some kind of stimulation on the cervix, or you can make circles with your hips, which will massage around the cervix. The reason this is a great position is because all of your erogenous zones are being activated. Your clitoris is having contact with the pelvic area of your partner. Your G-spot and A-spot are also stimulated, and your cervix is stimulated. And if you want, you can also touch your breast or have your partner touch your breast. So it's just a fully activated position, and it's the one I recommend the most to open up into these kinds of orgasms. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really invite you to take the time to meet your cervix, to massage her, to hum into her, to sing to her, to attune to her, because it's truly such a potent and magical place within the feminine body. And once you allow her to open up and expand, it really radiates through you as a woman. It gives you a sense of radiance, it gives you a sense of presence, and it's an extremely healing and empowering experience. So if you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I would also love to hear in the comments below if you have any questions, or if you did the practice, what came up for you. And also if you have any suggestions for future videos. Have fun exploring, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.